Hey, Jack.
Come on.
Hey.
They're saying that.
What?
Sorry.
Hi, guys. I'm Julie Wallace with the IWD406 podcast and the IWD406 platform. I'm here to do a little review, a book review on an upcoming podcast guest and the author of A Woman Among Wolves. Sorry, this is flipped around, but it's Dr. Diane K. Boyd. She is a Montana legend. She has had over 40 years worth of wolf research up in Glacier National Park, as well as up in the Minnesota area, down into Yellowstone. She's kind of been all over in the lower 48 and up into Canada, Alaska area, researching wolves. But the reason why she's a legend here is because she was the only female in North America tracking, trapping, and radio collaring wolves. And now, during her early years in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, there was hardly, I think there was absolutely, to my understanding is, and again, we could cite sort this, but there were no wolves seen in the lower 48. There was a lot of farmers and ranchers hunting wolves due to the fact that their livestock was eaten, and it was severely impacting their livelihood. So at that time, during that time frame, wolves were they were allowed to hunt and kill wolves, and then so a lot of the wolves retreated up into Canada and did not make their way down into the lower 48. And so until there was one sighting of I believe it was a gray wolf up in Montana. And she talks about that sighting of that specific female wolf in her book. And then how basically her journey coming from Minnesota all the way over into Montana, being one of the only female wildlife biologists, researchers up in this area to start tracking that particular wolf. And this wolf was very interesting. She talks about how stealth the wolf was in the book, how it often evaded humans. And however, she was one of the only trappers to be able to trap this wolf, radio collar this wolf, and track it. And then there was a lot of efforts made to bring back wolves into the lower 48. And so she moved to Montana, and it lived up in one of the most remote parts of the state of Montana, up in Glacier National Park, to learn to, sight wolves and track them and then trap them and then collar them and then do the research needed to be able to understand wolves' impact on the ecosystem. And it wasn't just about research and scientific data. There was a lot of historical references that I had no clue about, being a Montanan, and then also understanding the conflicts that she faced being a female researcher back in the 70s and 80s, and the conflicts that she ran across regarding, talking with ranchers, understanding the impact of what wolves did to farming and livestock. And it was devastating. And she completely understood that. However, the more we educate ourselves on what wolves can do for our ecosystem, it's pretty remarkable. A lot of aha moments. But I loved the storytelling. Some of the stories that she gave in regards to her experiences tracking and trapping wolves. She periodically accidentally trapped a grizzly bear, a mountain lion, and just learning a little bit about that predicament, I thought was really intriguing. I could not put this book down. I love audiobooks, and I spent some time with this book really digesting the information, and I loved it. I really found the stories were very captivating, suspenseful. They kept me hooked. I wanted to know what happened at the end, so I wouldn't really give up on the book and call it a night. I'm a nighttime reader, and so I really enjoyed reading through her stories, learning a lot about some insights and the way she looks at the world at more of a holistic level, how everything impacts everything, and the roles of predator versus prey and how it impacts the ecosystem. And then, not only that, but she is passionate about this work. This has been in her blood since she was a little girl. And you're going to learn a little bit about, being raised in Minnesota and being a curious young woman, and and her first encounter with the wolf. And I thought it was really cool. I thought it was a really cool story. And and then just her evolution through wolf research into wolf management. And as you all know, Dr. Diane K. Boyd has been featured on a lot of different podcasts, a lot of different platforms, including Joe Rogan show. And so you can go listen to her episode on Joe Rogan, but we will have her on the podcast for the IWD 406 podcast. And if you guys don't know what the IWD 406 podcast is, it is a platform where we we tell stories, we interview stories of Montana women who have made a difference in their communities across the state of Montana and beyond. So we're actually capturing real women and real Montana women in real time. We're basically capturing their stories, and there are remarkable women all throughout the state of Montana that have done amazing things here. And I thought it was really important to make sure that we capture their stories for history. And so our platform is about having these meaningful, deep conversations with women who have done remarkable things. We've had amazing, political figures. We have had doctors. We've had heads of organizations. We've had directors. We've had all sorts of women in a variety of fields, industries come on our platform and discuss the work that they do, starting from the beginning, from childhood all the way up to what they do today, why they're so passionate about it, and what they hope that future generations will take away from their work. So I hope you will tune in and listen. Again, it's the IWD 406 podcast. If you're interested in this book, A Woman Among Wolves, you can actually connect with the author Dr. Diane K. Boyd. I will put the link to her website in the description of this YouTube video. But you can also go to my Amazon influencer page. Yes, I've been an Amazon influencer for quite a few years, and I do have Julie's favorite reads. And this book is listed under my favorite reads. I've done author reviews before on Amazon Live, and I do plan to be doing a Amazon live review for all those folks that follow me on Amazon, so you guys can tune in. I absolutely recommend this book. I know they have it available at Barnes & Noble, on Amazon. It's also in Kindle version, so you can go ahead and download this book and read it. It's not a, it's a quick read, and it should only, if you're a quick reader, it should only take you maybe a night or two to read this book, but it's very captivating. So, and you're going to enjoy every ounce of this book, and you're going to learn so much. And it's gonna be, if you read this, if you're not from Montana and you're coming to Glacier National Park, Dr. Diane Boyd occasionally does talks for Glacier Institute. And if you come into the national park area, I highly recommend looking to see if she's doing a talk. They're always filled, they're always sold out. So you're going to want to get on that sooner than later. But she comes to the area and she does talks on occasion for Glacier National Park. And she's written a lot of different papers on wolves and wolf research. So you can find her on you're in a Google search to learn a little bit more about her work and the impact that she's made in the research world. So that's my review, you guys. Go check it out. Dr. Diane K. Boyd, A Woman Among Wolves. You can go through the book and see that she's also posted some photos in the back. She gives specific wolf stories. I'm just joking a little bit, sorry. Wolves that they've studied and they've followed them throughout their lives, and then the wolf packs and the pups that they've made. And so this is decades of wolf information. So if you're a wolf person and you love to learn about wolves, you're going to want to tap into this book. All right, you guys, thanks so much for listening to my review. Please tune into our podcast at the IWD406 podcast. It's available on Spotify, Apple, Podbean, or any of your favorite podcast platforms. And thanks so much for supporting our channel. All right.